Let's tell a story about a big snake today. Before I started junior high school, I have been living in my grandmother's house in Gansu. There was a one-eyed old man in the village. He once told me a story he witnessed with his own eyes. The bizarre experience of the Monty Python. This time the manager happened on his way to the sorghum field. He said that when he was very young, people's lives are generally difficult. At that time, every family had to grow due to sorghum and drought tolerance. The output is high. It's kind of local. Sorghum grows in the field. What you eat is naturally sorghum is eaten in much the same way as wheat. You have to peel the sorghum off the ears of the sorghum first, then put it in a stone mill and grind it. Sift it with a sieve a few more times. Finally, sorghum is free, the old man said with emotion. People's living conditions are good now. It is estimated that few people will eat sorghum noodles. Sorghum noodles are hard to eat. No matter how fine the sun is, it hurts your throat. He said again, at that time, if anyone could have a bowl of millet to eat, that's equivalent to Chinese New Year. There is more sorghum in the field. He has to help his family every day. The mountains in the northwest are generally not high. It's all layered on top of each other, without end. Most of the sorghum fields are located in the gullies between mountains. Once in the river, his grandfather took the work with him when they crossed a few mountains. When I first climbed a mountain, suddenly I heard a strange sound. The sound is hard to describe, kind of like the bass of some kind of big beast, but a lot more dull. Grandpa grabbed him immediately. Tell him not to go any further. Then they saw sorghum in the sorghum field below the mountain, shaking left and right in pieces. It seems that something is moving inside. Just then, Grandpa reached out and pinned him to the ground, and sat with his mouth covered so that he wouldn't be born. The two climbed motionless on the top of the mountain and observed the movement in the sorghum field. Not much effort. He saw a head. It is slowly poking out of the sorghum field. He took a closer look, almost screamed. It was clearly the head of a snake. That's a big head. It's as big as that. At the top of the head, there is also a red meatball the size of a fist. He was terrified. I didn't know what to do. He looked at his grandfather. Grandpa motioned him not to move. However, the serpents seemed to have discovered them. He opened his mouth slowly in their direction. The moment the snake opened its mouth, he felt as if the wind was blowing around him. Immediately after, he noticed that the weeds around him also moved, all drifted in the direction of the big snake. Grandpa quickly stretched it out. The hand was pressed tightly around his neck. Luckily, it lasted about a few minutes. The snake finally closes its mouth. Dig your tongue into the sorghum field again. Grandpa sees this, pulled him slowly back down the mountain, and went home. And I went home. He asked his grandfather, how can there be such a big snake in this mountain? Grandpa told him that today they encountered a giant python. This is a charred python. He is looking for a new lair. Grandpa explained to him. He had heard old people talk about it before. The snake in the mountain grows to a certain extent. A red meatball will grow on the head. Once this meatball grows, they can't be called snake or mang anymore. It's called Jowlong. According to Ma Hua Jiao, they tend to be very large. The original nest can no longer satisfy them. They had to start looking for new nests. At this point, they usually have two options. One is to swim into big rivers, live in the river. The other has to go deeper into the mountains, looking for a bigger hole. They are looking for. It will grow for thousands of years after reaching a new nest. By then, whether it is the flood dragon in the river or a flood dragon in a cave in the mountains, no longer adapt to the original living environment, they will follow the nearby river into the sea. This is the legendary walking reef. His grandfather went on to say that python pepper is dangerous. It is said that at this time, their temperament will change greatly. Extremely sensitive. Don't go near them. Once provoked, they will be inhaled. Then the one-eyed old man died. I don't know if his story is true or false, but I loved the stories they told. Because these stories are not just simple stories, more about their vicissitudes of life. I went to Gansu before the Spring Festival. I went to see my grandma and grandpa especially, wishing an early greeting to the elderly in advance. I will tell this story to my lord. The master smiled and said it was not impossible. After all, snakes are shy for thousands of years. Shy Millennium Dragon scolded immediately after, and he told me the following story. A real-life python incident that happened on Stone Mountain. It happened in the 1980s. The People's Commune has just ended. The land owned by the commune was also dissolved. Land originally owned by the commune are assigned to individuals. The distribution at that time was based on the head, so that's a problem. Some new families have just been formed because of the small population, not much land at all. Many young people are invincible. Young people have nowhere to grow, but you have to survive. Therefore, many people have to choose to go out to work. But there's a catch. At that time, the opportunities for working outside the home are very limited, because many factories in the city have their own fixed workers. It's all a radish and a pit. They rarely accept outsiders. Since then, many young people in the village, I had to go to a place called Stone Mountain. The reason why Stone Mountain is called Stone Mountain, it's because the mountains there are weird. It's all top down. It's layered on red sandstone, kind of similar to Dangshulan. These people in Stone Mountain are mainly masons. In the Rocky Mountains, there is a factory dedicated to quarrying slabs. Said it was a factory. In fact, it is an uninhabited stone ditch in the mountains. They're stonemason, not like a mason in the ordinary sense. No, some crafts of carving dragons and phoenixes. Their day job is simple. It is to use a detonator to remove the stone mountain, smashed into big pieces of sand and gravel. Then with a hammer and an iron scorpion, chisel sand and gravel into slabs according to different sizes, just plain coolly. This kind of slate was widely used at that time. It's kind of like marble today. Stone came to the countryside. All kinds of countertops are made of this slate. The master said that being a mason is very hard work. They've been uprooted for years, stand in the sun every day, facing heavy physical labor. The body was tanned, thick calluses on both hands. Originally, everyone worked as a mason here, tired, but no one thought. That happened later. One day, the gunner responsible for blasting the mountain followed the previous arrangement. Fill the detonator into the cannon rock. After a few detonators exploded, when people came to clear the rubble, found a lot of scattered rubble, stained with red blood. These blood stains are sticky, obviously fresh blood. Oh sure, it must have blown up something when it just bombed the mountain. And according to the situation of sheds at the scene, this thing that was blown up was definitely not small, at least like an adult. So everyone quickly spread out and looked around, see what actually exploded. But people kept searching for it for a long time, except for the bloodstains sprayed everywhere. No current, the body or remains of anything. Everybody was wondering, could it really blow up the mountain god? This happened. In fact, the most frustrating thing is the leader in charge. What do you think? Many of the ingredients here are used to pave the Kong. Who wants to sleep on a stone slab covered in blood? What's more, what kind of blood is this blood? Nobody knows. In addition, the masons here, almost all come from different places. If at this time, keep mining this blood-stained sand and gravel. In case it gets out, no one will buy it at all. Not only that, if this goes on and on, I guess the whole slate business is going down. In the end, there is no way. The person in charge had to let everyone take that mountain. Head on hold for now. He went to mine nearby hills, but just when everyone thought it was over, when bundling in a village near Stone Mountain, another terrible thing happened. It was after 2 a.m. that night. The Shijia are sleeping soundly. Suddenly awakened by the bustling sound of footsteps, everyone put on their clothes and rushed out the door. It turned out that a lot of people had flashlights, walking towards them with sticks. The masons hurried forward to ask. These people say that just now. I don't know what entered the village. The livestock in the village, especially the chickens in the village, are bitten to death. Now the whole village is a sea of blood. The reason why they chased us here, it's because someone wakes up at night, after vaguely seeing that thing leave the village, entered Stone Mountain. The masons didn't think much of it. It's just that the villagers said it was late at night. You don't even know what it is. Dare to rashly rush into the mountain in case you encounter any beasts. That's not a big loss. The stonemasons persuaded the villagers to go back, but no one thought. The next night, the livestock in the village was attacked again. This time the villagers were completely angry. They came to Stone Mountain again, and this time many people saw it clearly. A big snake was born in Huo village. The Shi family heard the villagers say so. There's no more stopping. Instead, I went into the mountains with everyone to find the big snake. Everyone is looking carefully in the Lion's Head Mountain. I searched almost all the land in Plum Village. In the end, it was behind the previous mountain. A cave was discovered. It was a cave that looked like a tree. Well, the diameter of the hole is about 70 or 80 centimeters, although the hole is large. But there are some rocks piled up at the entrance of the cave. These stone heads were deliberately placed by someone, specially used to block the entrance of the hole. If you don't look carefully, I really can't see the existence of the cave. It was agreed that the entire stone mountain except for this cave, there can't be a second place to hide the serpent. The stonemasons seem to understand. It turns out that the bloodstains on the broken corpse before it belongs to this big snake. At this time, someone in the village said, "Now, the snake's cave has been found. But if you want to really stop the big snake from entering the village again, you have to use your brains to drive him away." Someone suggested to find snake hunt people who specialize in catching snakes. Let them come and help. But where can I find Serpent Hanako now? Besides, such a huge snake. The average snake flower probably can't do anything. Just as everyone was talking, a person suddenly stood out in the crowd. This person is 1.6 meters tall, with a bald head, full of flesh. And he went up in front of the crowd, said that he used to specialize in selling snake wine, caught a lot of snakes. Only then the business of selling snake wine went down. He had to come to the top of the stone mountain. That's right, this person is the chef in the factory. I am usually responsible for providing everyone's food. Very low-key, the kind that doesn't talk much. And he told them he was willing to give it a try. The villagers had no other choice. I had to let him try. He said that this kind of serpent is very powerful. You can't catch it with brute force. The best way is to hang him. He had some wool ropes stained with water, and it has to be the thickness of a finger. And then at the end of the wool rope, put on a big iron hook. Then he had the villagers catch 2 chickens, and housewives must live chickens. He explained that snakes have poor eyesight. It has to be live, Wu-Dang, to get his attention. Finally, he arranged for a few more young people. Let them stand at the entrance of the cave with hemp rope. Once the tongue is exposed, immediately step forward and tie your tongue. Then he officially started fishing for snakes. The sky is already bright. Others in the village heard that someone was fishing for big snakes. Both adults and children came to see the freshness. For a time, the stone mountain was full of people. I saw the chef hanging live chickens on iron hooks, slowly into the cave. After the live chickens enter the cave, start flapping like crazy. The cowhair rope pulled by the wings swings from side to side. He sank the rope into the bottom of the hole. Then with a few people, strong men, they are all dragging the end of the cowhair rope. And so everybody was holding their breath. Jinjin's waiting. After about 10 minutes, the wool rope suddenly straightened. At the same time, a few screams of struggle came from the hole. Then the rope starts shaking violently. Then he shouted, "Pull." A few strong men shouted, "Rat." Pull the rope up and down. It really doesn't take much effort. A tongue the size of a sea bowl is exposed from the hole. The snake had just exposed the hole. Several young people rushed up, but I don't know if the snake was frightened or what. He started to struggle violently. The snake is shaking its head wildly. As a result, the big iron hook that was originally hooked in the snake's mouth. The snake's mouth was cut, freed by the serpent. After breaking free, the big snake fell into the cave again. And here's the bad news. The moment the snake fell, a child who was originally standing at the entrance of the cave, knocked down by the head of the snake, also fell into the hole with the big snake. Everyone here is stupid. The child's mother lay hysterical at the entrance of the cave. The father picks up a bundle of detonators and is about to jump into the hole. Hit and grab him, saying that you go on like this is a complete suicide. Can't save the child at all. He quickly picked up the wool rope from the ground. Tie it around your waist. Move the rope forward a few meters. Tie it around the waist of the child's father. Then carry a powder gun. He told the villagers at the entrance of the cave. Just pull the rope hard. You're going to pull back. So they were sent by the villagers into the cave. After they left, everyone was waiting nervously at the entrance of the cave. Just a few minutes. Only 2 gunshots were heard from the hole. Then the rope suddenly twitched down twice. After everyone receives the signal, start pulling the rope up. Soon the chef was pulled up. He had the baby in his arms, sticky liquid all over the child. Then the child's father also showed his head, but just as he was about to be pulled out of the hole, he suddenly lit the detonator in his hand, throw it into the hole with a rumbling sound. The cave was razed to the ground. The child's father was finally pulled up, and this is when they realized that ... one of his legs was blown to pieces. Fortunately, after the rescue, life was saved. And then people asked him why he did it. He said the snake was right behind him. That's pretty much the end of the story. I asked my grandfather, was the big snake killed? The Lord shook his head and said he didn't know either. It's just that later I heard that Stone Mountain is making a big snake again. After that, the slate factory closed, and all the people in that village have moved away. And the family of the rescued child, I happened to move into my grandfather's village. Now my father is half-legged. The child's head is always bare, not long hair.